But Billy was not instrumental or vital to Griffith's success at all. I don't think so.
Except his loyalty as a friend.
Well, I mean, they worked well together. There's no doubt about that. But
what was Arthur Marvin as a cameraman?
Good. You can't tell the difference. The first movie is Adventures of Dolly, and it's nicely framed. Both of them had a good sense of composition. I mean, you put your tree on the left, and you make the little curving road in the middle, and set it up. You balance your picture. Anybody with any semi-artistic eye knows exactly how to frame a shot. You know, you don't want it ugly looking, and they both did fine. So nobody really knows the difference. Marvin was inclined not to want to always go out on the location stuff as much, so Bitzer did.
Talk about the schedule: 2 to 3 films a week.
Yeah.
The whole situation at the studio, making all these films, stories. It's a blueprint of what a studio system would be.
Yeah, there would be a whole bunch of scripts. They were actually typed scripts with shot description in the first part. Maybe running 2 or 3 pages, but after all, the films only ran 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 8 minutes, and he would make some choices among them, which one he would pick, and then it would all be mostly stuck in his mind. After a while, you don't really need that. You carry it in your head as he did. If you have any feel for it, you have to be an idiot to know that you don't cut in for another shot. But in the beginning, you didn't have any breakdown of a shot. A scene was a scene. So you really didn't have to worry about continuity or anything else, except if somebody leaves one side, they should walk in the other way. That's about it. Later on, it becomes more important when you cut from the long shot to medium shot to the close-up. You want to be sure that in the medium shot she's still seated in a chair, or she's still walking, or whatever it is, and not facing the wrong direction, and certainly not a close-up, which is looking in the wrong direction. I mean,
well, if he placed the camera and someone had to come through that door, he would know that they're going to come through that door in the morning and do this scene.
Right.
Then there's that afternoon, and then he never moves the camera from that, and he'll never come back to it again. He knew in his head continuity.
Yeah, he knew in his continuity. And we have a record already in the paper prints because some of the negative was sent in before it was edited. And so you know that if you have a shot outside of a stairway, he shot the entrance, and he shot the exit, and he shot the last fade out all at the same time. And then later on would cut it. And you could say, well, that's, well, when you're making a film, so many films, it's nice to have one stationary thing, and you can handle 4 of your shots with one camera placement. That's easy. And it's also good in that once you set up where your camera is, when you cut back to it 3 minutes later, you know exactly where you were. And it makes your story clear. If you have a different shot of it, then you get confused. So some of these idiots will say what genius Griffith was to have used the same. He did the same camera placement because it was practical and it was quick. And later on, this is an advantage. But I think it was the quick and easy, the main motivation, rather than the other way.
Parallel action, first time he started developing that?
Very early. Very early.
He saw how did he start to see that he has to improve stories and development and bring the people into the characters?
Well, that's kind of hard to say. When I first got interested in Griffith, I started with the first film and went through all the paper prints one after another to see what he did and when these changes were made. Because if you read about the biographs, you see that, it's full of, close-ups and fade-outs and all this from the very beginning. Not true at all. It was several years before that happened. And when you do have a close-up or a closer shot of something, there are 2 different kinds of close-ups. There is what I call the informational close-up. Somebody's reading a book, and if it's important, you can see the title of the book, if that's important to your story. Or if you have something you put in the handbag, or you put a coin in somebody's hand, you want to know that it's a coin and not something else. That's an informational close-up. The other kind is a narrative close-up, in that you want to show a reaction of a face of what is happening. That's different, and that is a lot later. But the other kind of close-up is there already the first few months. Later on, you have the fade out. Later on, the first shots are maybe Ventures of Dolly, maybe 13 shots for 1,000 feet, say 15-minute film or so. Later on, with a Lone Dale Operator, I think you have 101 shots, the same amount of space. So he's cutting a lot faster, but it depends on the story. Now, if the film is made in the studio, it tends to be duller, less interesting. When it's outside, you have more opportunity to have different kinds of shots, different kind of camera placements. But if you have a film made in the studio, it was a small studio, so they have to build one set, take it down, and build another set, take it down and build another. You don't want more than 2 or 3 sets, because otherwise it takes a couple of days, and you couldn't do that when you're making films rapidly. So the interior work is relatively boring. The outdoor work is much better. So you have to make that little judgment as well. The parallel editing comes in pretty soon, too. Lonely Villa is already there. The wife is at home. The father's there. He says, "Goodbye, wife." He goes away. The burglars break into the house. The wife is terrified. She runs into the next room. The crooks go outside and cut the telephone wires, but not before she can. The father calls and says, "We've had car trouble." And she says, "Oh, my heavens, the burglars are in the house," and then the wires are cut. Well, okay, then the car doesn't work, but he goes back with like a gypsy wagon or some kind of horse and wagon, and gets there in time and apprehends the criminals. So you have him racing along with the horse and wagon, and you have them terrified inside the house. Parallel cutting.
Development of the
Two
tension.
different things going on at the same time, simultaneous action.
But then he also started becoming known for the last-minute rescues.
Well, that's one of them. Yeah, that's a last-minute rescue. And that was his formula forever. I mean, he never really got that. That was the way to do it.
That was his signature?
That was his signature, yes. Whether it's Birth of a Nation or it's Intolerance, the last movie, The Struggle, that was the last-minute rescue and the cross-cutting at the end was as necessary as a cadenza is in a concerto. You got to let the guy roll, and then you have the coda, and then your last few chords, dun, da-dun, end. Got to have it.
How were other directors influenced by him? How did he change the industry just in the first 5 years?
Well, I don't know. Some people are still making films in 1915, like Edwin S. Porter and some of those other Mary Pickford films. One scene is one shot. There's no breakdown. There's no close-ups, no medium shots. The camera just grinds away. So other people picked up on him, but a lot didn't. They were still making movies that looked like 1903 already in 1913, 15.
So his films are standing out from everybody.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that's not just said today. If you look at the reports at the time, those biograph films are really good, and the acting is good. When they meant the acting is good, it meant that we could see it. Got up close, you could see it. I don't know whether you've seen many of those early films, but I saw some on a big screen, and for the first few years, distinct white white makeup on the faces. I mean, really distinct. Stopping right here, and the collar breaks and it's dark. But pink look like they stuck their face in powder. Very obvious on a big screen. Then that goes away. But I had never noticed that. You know, normally we see these paper prints on a small screen, or 16 millimeter. Or,
The reason they use that type of makeup,
so you could see that.
because of the lighting.